Hey everyone, this is day 30, 31 days through Ezekiel and Daniel. Daniel chapter 10 revealed that there is war behind the waiting. Daniel chapter 11 shows how that war unfolds over time through systems, rulers, and repeated cycles of conflict. This chapter is dense. Kings rise and fall, alliances form and fracture, power shifts between the king of the north and the king of the south. What is striking is not just the detail, but the repetition. Strength rises, ambition expands, conflict follows, collapse comes, and when he has arisen, his kingdom shall be broken up and divided toward the four winds of heaven. Daniel 11 and 4. This pattern appears again and again. No matter how strong a ruler becomes, fragmentation eventually follows. Authority that is not rooted in God cannot sustain itself indefinitely. As Matthew Henry observes, the detailed unfolding of these events demonstrates that history is neither random nor uncontrolled. It is known, permitted, and ultimately governed by God. What feels chaotic on earth is already accounted for in heaven. The chapter continues with increasing complexity: betrayals, strategic marriages, military campaigns. Agreements are made, but not honored. They shall speak lies at the same table, but it shall not prosper. Daniel 11 and 27. Power without truth cannot produce stability. And then the focus sharpens. A particular ruler emerges with intensified arrogance. He shall exalt and magnify himself above every god, shall speak blasphemies against the God of gods. Daniel 11:36. This is not new. It is a continuation of a pattern we have seen throughout Daniel. Pride matures into defiance. Authority, when untethered from humility, eventually positions itself against God. As A.W. Tozer wrote, pride is not merely self elevation, it is resistance to the rightful place of God in our lives. What we see in individuals in earlier chapters now appears in systems and leadership on a larger scale. But in the midst of all of this, there is a quieter, steadier line that runs through the chapter. But the people who know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits. Daniel 11 and 32. Notice the contrast. While rulers manipulate and kingdoms collide, there remains a people defined not by power, but by relationship. They know their God. Their strength is not circumstantial. Their endurance is not political. Their clarity is not dependent on stability around them. As John Bevere teaches, intimacy with God produces a resilience that external pressure cannot dismantle. These are not people removed from conflict, they are people sustained within it. And yet, even they are not exempt from suffering. Those of understanding shall fall to refine them, purify them, and make them white until the time of the end. Daniel 11:35. This is a necessary tension. Faithfulness does not always prevent hardship. Obedience does not always remove opposition. But suffering in this context is not meaningless, it is refining. As Matthew Henry notes, trials permitted by God are often purifying in purpose, preparing his people for what lies ahead rather than signaling his absence. Refinement is not rejection, it is preparation. The chapter does not resolve neatly. Conflict continues, tension remains, power struggles persist, and that is intentional because Daniel chapter 11 is not primarily about giving comfort through resolution. It is about forming endurance through understanding. History will be complex. Leadership will be flawed. Systems will rise and fall. But in the midst of it all, there will be a people who remain steady, not because the world is stable, but because their knowledge of God is. And so the reflection becomes deeply personal. What is forming your sense of stability right now? Where are you looking for clarity? In systems or in God? And if pressure increases, will your faith be dependent on outcomes or anchored in relationship? Because Daniel 11 does not promise ease. It promises that in the middle of complexity, there will be a people who know their God. And because they know him, they will remain.